And welcome in to the backstage pass here for a hump day, last day of March, the 31st. Hard to believe. It's flying by. Tomorrow, yes, is April Fool's Day, and we're not going to fool you because we are going to have shows here on the show. Coming up tomorrow, Brody Lane is going to lead us off and kick us off there. And then, of course, no shows on Friday because Good Friday and Happy Easter to everybody out there this upcoming weekend. Take a few days to reflect about life and about how we're climbing out of this pandemic slowly. But surely, Brandon Morrell and Jeff McMahon here back on the Backstage Pass. Had a lot of fun last night with the Pitch Baseball podcast. If you missed that, it's up on the website. You see there at the bottom of your screen. You go back and catch our baseball knowledge and cut-up stuff last night, which was a lot of fun with Zach and Mike out there too. We're presented by our good friends over at Toir Guitars and also Bangtail Whiskey. Pleased to welcome in a Canadian recording artist, Olivia Rose, to the program. What's going on?
Hey, guys. Nothing much. Just hanging out with you. How are you?
We're pleased to hang out with you today and talk a lot about the gold, striking gold there too, with this current single out there. Came out just a couple of days before the Valentine's Day, and definitely just want to get to know you at the top here. Talk about just this connection to music and kind of how you knew this was going to be the calling. I always like to say we're always put here for a purpose. Your purpose was to be a singer-songwriter. Talk to me about that a little bit.
That's right. I have been singing and performing and songwriting even since I could basically talk and walk. It's kind of always been the thing that's called me. You could ask my parents. I used to get up on the living room table and perform for the captive audience that was my parents' friends when I was little. And stage is kind of where I've always felt most at home. I did quite a bit of songwriting when I was younger, but I wasn't as comfortable with it as I am now, especially during this pandemic. Not being able to do live shows has really pushed me into songwriting a lot more than I previously was. And it's nice because you actually get to take the time to do that and perfect that craft. And so I look back, and when I was in high school going into rights, I would get so nervous and I wasn't confident in my songwriting abilities. And then over this past year, I've seen my confidence in my songwriting just like skyrocket. And now I'm actually excited to be able to sit down for a couple of hours with some buddies of mine and churn out a couple of really great tunes. But yeah, like I said, I've been doing this for a very long time. I guess I've been in the scene more professionally since I was 9 years old, because that's when I attended my first Alberta Country Music Awards. And I won my first Edmonton Music Award when I was 16. I won a really great Mayor's Award in Edmonton when I was just 15, I believe.
Wow.
And so I'm only 22 now, almost, and I've already been doing this for 10 years of my life, which seems like a lot to me, but everyone just says, oh, you're so young. You're still so green at this. And I'm like, yeah, well.
Well, that's what's so funny. Brandon, you were talking about the baseball podcast last night, and a buddy of mine that's also a performer was doing that. And he always makes these comments about old, well, back in the day and old school and back when I was young. And I'm like, what, like back when Taylor Swift was still country? I mean, old. I'm listening to you talk about when you were a little girl. And I'm like, well, what time was that?
I was born in 99. So.
Oh, I know. You said you were at the awards when you were 9. What were you doing at the awards then?
I was really just getting my face out there and shaking lots of hands. I would go with my mom.
As a singer, you were still already as a singer at 9.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's when I really started. I grew up in a really small town in northern Alberta called Elk Point. 1,500 people, really small, hardly any music whatsoever. I didn't even really have music class in my elementary and junior high. And so that's around 9, 8 years old is when we started driving up to Edmonton, which is 2.5 hours each way, to do some co-writes, some open mics, and kind of that's when I started getting into the scene a little bit more. But yeah, I started attending those conference type things just to shake hands and introduce myself to people.
Right. Now, was Cook County Saloon still happening then? I'm thinking it closed now, right?
No, Cook County's still open.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
I think I saw
still
some.
open.
I think I saw something about it. Maybe with the shutdown, maybe they had slowed some stuff up or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they stopped having live performances for a long time,
yeah,
obviously, like everyone else. But they're still kicking. I've had
yeah.
many a good nights at Cook County.
Honey, if you had many a good night, you were sneaking in there with a fake ID because you ain't been old enough to have many a good
Oh
nights.
no. It's 18. It's 18 in Alberta. So
Oh, that's right. That's right. I
That's
forgot.
right.
I
Forgot
forgot.
about that too.
mhm. Yeah.
One of the singles we had talked about, Olivia, too, that was big time before the show. You kind of keep putting it out there for a lot of the great fans you have and a lot of the great country music fans. Make Up to Mud. Let's talk about the story of this one, too, because I go back with you for that one, 2015. Like you said, you released that, recorded that. Talk about that story and still how popular that song is for you today.
Yeah, that was probably one of the first songs I'd ever professionally co-written with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the whole chorus idea, and I got to write that with two of my good friends, the Doll sisters. They're also from Alberta, and they kind of sat down with me and got me more comfortable in songwriting at that age, because I actually wrote it when I was 12. And then recorded and released it when I was 14. And yeah, like you said, it's still kind of popular today. I still get people messaging me on Instagram and Facebook saying how much they love the song. And for me, it's a little cringy to listen to because all I hear is my little 14-year-old voice. But it was a really great song to write because it was something I wanted to write about. It's about somebody who's comfortable dressing up and putting themselves out there, putting on makeup, doing their hair, but also super comfortable getting down in the mud, like going quadding and fishing and all that kind of stuff. And that is really who I am. I love makeup. I love clothes, but my favorite activity is probably to go quadding in the spring and summertime and go fishing, ice fishing, all that kind of stuff. And so when I was younger, I kind of struggled with that a little bit because I was like, I have to pick one side. I have to be a tomboy or I have to be a girly girl. And then as I got a little bit older, I was like, no, I don't. I don't have to pick that. And so that song actually kind of helped me grow out of that fear of having to choose kind of one type of person that I had to be.
I like that too. Good
Well,
stuff.
and I think maybe that's one of the reasons that song continues to resonate. Not only as a song, but because, and granted, my view of what your artistry is from a distance, but as far as that being a reflection of you, I think it's easy to recognize that is a reflection of you. You know, the same place that idea would come from is the same place that Hometown Sundowns would come from. And I think, you know, it doesn't reflect you now because it was 14, but it does reflect you now as far as your mindset and as far as what was important to you. You know, one of the things that I picked up on when I was looking at that song was you had an early review which of that song making a reference to the sass of Miranda Lambert. And I am well aware of the fact that Miranda Lambert still holds a dear place in your heart as well. So I think what's especially impressive is that at that time you already kind of had a sense of who you were as an artist and as a person, which I think people like to know.
Totally. Yeah, it's been very interesting growing up in the kind of Alberta and Canadian country music industry, because I know people now that I knew back when I was 9 years old, and they've kind of watched me grow up and figure out who I am as an artist. Obviously, I'm only 21. I'm still kind of figuring it out, especially like this past year with way more songwriting, and I'm trying to write my first album. And there's so many different types of songs that are coming in, and I'm trying to find that right balance of exactly where I fit and how I show myself and who I am as a creative artist, not as a cookie cutter to Canadian country radio and country radio in North America.
Yeah.
I love it too. The authenticity is always the key out there, no doubt about it. The current single is Gold. It's Olivia Rose here on the Backstage Pass, and now we get to hear the beautiful tones here. It's time for some music here, and definitely we could start there or the other
Let's do it.
I was like, let's start with Gold.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Boy, you give me one hell of fever. There's more to see than just this little teaser. You stuck in my mind, you're all through my veins. What's it gonna take to stake my claim? I know you're the real thing. You are gold, baby, solid gold, baby. Stop to the touch, lost in your eyes. Can't stop digging for your love. If you hold me, I'll go crazy for that 24-karat kiss. Make me the richest girl you know, 'cause you're gone. I can't find him. All the fools and fakers, bright and shiny, hiding a heartbreaker. But you're 100% the absolute best. 1 ounce of you is worth all the rest. And I ain't gonna let you go, 'cause you are gold, baby, solid gold, baby. Stop to the touch, I'm lost in your eyes. Can't stop digging for your love. If you hold me, I'll go crazy for that 24-karat kiss. Make me the richest girl you know, 'cause you're gold, yeah. Solid gold to me, you've got a hold on me. You're solid gold to me, to me, to me. 'Cause you are gold, baby, solid gold, baby. Stop to the touch, I'm lost in your eyes. Can't stop digging for your love. If you hold me, I'll go crazy for that 24-karat kiss. Make me the richest girl you know, 'cause you're gold, gold, you're gold.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Oh, yeah. Be some glasses of that coming up over the weekend, too. Happy Easter to everybody out there. You can check them out at bangtail.com. And, of course, the Easy Liquor app. Type in that word, and there you go. You got some music on his phone there. Look at that. Man's having
I
a good
did.
time.
I was looking for something there.
Having a good time here. Olivia Rose back on the backstage pass next to Toir Guitars and Bangtail Whiskey. Such a fun song, too. And I do want to say this. You got a new website coming up, oliviarosemusic.ca, if you go there now. But there's a whole new digital transformation that's getting ready to happen for you and your campaign.
Okay,
Yeah.
well now let's hold up. Now before we go to the website, let's stay on this song for a minute, because
Okay.
I was just I don't even know, Olivia, you may know this. I'm not really good with these kind of details, but I'm remembering there's a song by Lady A that just came out, Like a Lady. And I mean, a lot of people know Lady A. I mean, they've been nominated for like 19 ACMs, and they've won 8, and they won International Album of the Years at the CCMAs. I noticed that their song was number 3 this week on the downloads.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember who was number 2 above them. Who was number 2 on the downloads this last week?
Oh, I think it might have been me.
Was that you? Oh, okay. I was thinking something like that, because I don't know who number 1 was, but we don't care.
That was like a really good week for me last.
Yeah. So talk about that for a minute, because I can imagine you looking to see what's going on with the single when it released, and at some point you saw that, right?
Yeah, Yeah, I saw that last week. That's super, super incredible because obviously it just dropped about 15 days ago to radio, although it's been out for about a month and a half digitally. And that was pretty cool. I had a pretty good time last week sharing all that. And I was very excited. I actually FaceTimed my parents and I called some of my old music friends who have helped me and supported me so much in the past to be like, look at this. It's so exciting. And now the real work begins because although it was downloaded, doesn't mean they're necessarily starting to play it yet. So now we start emailing all the radio stations, but I've already had some really, really great support from some stations that have supported me in the past. So it's definitely a slow moving train to start, but I think that with that and some of this really, really incredible press opportunity, like with you guys, we can keep that ball rolling and hopefully get that onto radio and playing in rotation.
Well, it's fun to see how excited. I can imagine how excited you are when you're calling everybody. I was just curious, Brandon, did you get a call?
Did I get a call?
Yeah, she was real excited when this hit. Did you?
Yeah,
I did not get a call.
I didn't get a call, so I
didn't get a call.
So she can call me anytime she wants to go back.
We saw it on Facebook.
We did. And again, more music is going to do that at her young age too. I have no doubt in my mind we're going to be talking about a superstar hopefully the next 5 to 10 years, no doubt about it. Because of songs like that. Now, break down. We'll stay with Gold here. Break down the writing. Break down who you worked with. Break down the whole project. This is a special song for you.
Totally. Yeah. So this song was actually recorded at the same time that I recorded my last single, Put It Like That. So it has been in the back pocket for a little while. It was supposed to come out last summer, and I was supposed to go on a radio tour / tour in Ontario because I've had tons of really incredible radio support out there, and I haven't had the opportunity to go in and actually meet all of those radio stations. Of course, that didn't happen. And and then kind of had to figure out, okay, how else can we make this kind of special to release? And so, it was actually recorded over 2 years ago, which is insane. But it was written with my good friend, David Bories. I've written with him before. He's actually a songwriter on Hometown Sundowns as well. And I remember when we went into that write, I had been writing a lot of sad breakup type songs, just like super sad, no happiness at all. And I had this lyric idea, "You are gold, baby, solid gold," in my notebook for like a year probably. And I remember looking through my notes saying, oh, what should we write today? And that one came up, and I knew that it had to be like a total no strings attached love song, like everything is perfect. And so I brought that idea to him. He loved it. And so we wrote just an upbeat, happy, positive love song. And then I got to record with Bart McKay, who also recorded Put It Like That, as I said. And it was really cool because we got to record all of the vocals in his studio in Saskatoon. And then we recorded all of the bass tracks here in Edmonton at Velveteen Audio. And since that was such a long time ago, I've had Gold in the back pocket for a little while. And then closer to release, I decided I wanted to do a lyric video for it because we had original plans to do a full video. And then that just obviously all went down the drain. And so I got to work with my really good friend, Juliana Lane from Calgary at Not Your Designer. And I've known her for about 3 years now. We did Project Wild together, which was a really, really cool artist competition that I was in Alberta. And she has been doing incredible stuff with her graphic design. And she's made basically everyone's album art in Alberta for the past like year and a half now, because she's so incredible at what she does. So she did the album art and the lyric video. And it was really fun because it was very collaborative. We talked on the phone a lot. We sent images back and forth. And she did really fast work, and I absolutely loved it. So anyone that hasn't seen that lyric video can go check it out by looking up Olivia Rose official lyric video, Gold, on YouTube.
I like that. Good stuff.
Well, and they definitely should check it out. Now, I wonder, when you were working on this, Did you have to sit down with your grandparents and so they could explain to you what a cassette tape was and
No,
what a CD was in the
No.
lyric video?
no. My mom's van that she had until I was about 8 years old only had cassette in it. So we had
really?
a huge thing of cassette tapes
Okay.
that we got to play. And I
Some
used
of
to
the-
burn CDs when I was a kid. So
some of the graphics in that video obviously are some of those things. So but no, it was a really cool video. Now, but I'm curious because you talked about the phone calling and all that back and forth, putting that together, and I'm sure you're shooting pictures back and forth. But you kind of sat on this song, and some people over this last year have really buried themselves in their home studios. I gather from you that is not your favorite. I heard you talking about looking forward to making a new record when things open up, and I'm assuming that you really prefer that organic, let's all get in the same room and make something together kind of vibe for creating. Is that right?
yeah, definitely. I find that when I'm just by myself trying to create something, even sometimes in songwriting, I get so self-critical and everything has to be like perfect that it won't get done. And so I do really love going to people that like that is their speciality, like producers, session guitar players, the one thing that makes them tick, like what they love to do, and get to collaborate with them on that, because they're going to be way better at that than I am. That's for sure. And I love collaborating. It's kind of one of my favorite things. That's why I do so much co-writing in this past year. And I've set up, before the pandemic, I've set up like tons of shows with a bunch of girls on the bill or opening for another artist that I know. And collaborating in music is kind of one of my favorite things. I think you get a different perspective, and everyone's minds put together will probably come up with something really, really cool, rather than kind of just brooding on it on your own.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Oh, no, I agree for sure.
Time for some more music here, Jeff. We got to hear the vocal tones again, the beautiful tones of Olivia Rose here. We'll come back and definitely talk about. I'm sure there's a good story behind this song. Please Make came out as a single in 2016. Love that one. And then definitely we'll get a little more of the story for Hometown Sundowns, which is awesome out there. Love that one too, which is 2017. So take it away, Dealer's Choice, Olivia. It's all yours.
Thank you. So this next one I'm going to play is actually a pretty new song. It was written with my friends Megan Dawson and Chell, and it's another love song. I've been writing a lot of love songs lately, I guess. And it's just about when you kind of get into a relationship and feel like you can finally take a breath and everything is kind of where it belongs. It's called Settled Down. Slow it down, girl. You don't have to solve all the problems that you question. Take a break, girl. You gotta quit trying to reach the peak of perfection. Let it all fall. Your worries, your fears, your doubts, those expectations. You don't need them. You can leave them on the ground now. Feel a little more settled down from feeling so overwhelmed. When he touched me for the first time, felt the stare from those eyes. Now I'm insensible, I admit it. I get a little unstable, but my heart can breathe for a minute. I finally feel like I can fit in. Feel a little more settled down. I'm a little more girly now, yeah. Settle down. What you found, girl, won't be another heartache with some wanting don't deserve you. It's giving you the whole world, makes everything simple. He makes it feel more settled down from feeling so overwhelmed. When he touched me for the first time, felt the stare from those eyes. being sensible, I admit it. Get a little unstable, but my heart can breathe for a minute. I finally feel like I can fit in. Feel a little more settled down. I'm a little more grounded now, yeah. Settled down. Let it all fall, your worries, your fears, your doubts, those expectations. You don't need them, so you can leave them on the ground now. I'm settled down and feel so overwhelmed. When he touched me for the first time, felt the stare from those eyes. Now I'm being sensible, I admit it. I get a little unstable, but my heart can breathe for a minute. I finally feel like I can fit in. Feel a little more settled down. I'm a little more grounded now, yeah. Settled down. I'm a little more grounded now. Feel a little more settled down, yeah. Settled down. I'm a little more grounded now. Feel a little more settled down. Settled down.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Just like that vocals there, super smooth and warm finish. You can get that drink at bangtail.com or check them out, Easy Liquor, and type in Bangtail, get a big bottle sent to the door. And Jeff, I still have some, no doubt about it here. And also thanks to Toir Guitars and, of course, everything Ed Rice does out there back here on the Backstage Pass. Love that song. Olivia Rose joining us here on the show. So let's break that one down. Very special, and you can definitely see the meaning, like you said, in a relationship, and things are just kind of going along as they should, and you kind of get the meaning of that one. Very good song. Love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun to write. Definitely very poppy, but I actually just got a demo back for it yesterday, and it's really cool because I'm gonna add some like steel guitar and stuff if I do take it to full production, and kind of give it that more classic country sound with a modern country melody and vibe.
I love that one. Beautiful song there. Well, let's get that story on the one that kind of that $1 million question, because I love that hometown Sundowns. Another fantastic song that you guys had put out there back, I believe it was 2017. I'm not mistaken there. Very fun one to work on. Did you write that one? I'm curious kind of where the story came from for that particular tune.
Yeah, I totally wrote that one. I believe I was 15 or 16 when I wrote it. I'd always wanted to kind of write a song for my hometown. Like I said earlier, I grew up in a really small town called Elk Point. And I moved away from Elk Point when I was 14 years old to move to Edmonton so that I could further my music career. And that kind of hit me really hard because my entire family lives in Elk Point, and my sisters and my mom and my grandparents all grew up there and kind of settled there. And for me, moving away was kind of scary. And so I knew that I'd always wanted to write a song to kind of honor my hometown. And I run into that right again with David Bories and another one of my friends, Beth Anderson. And I remember actually writing that on like the first nice day of summer. I was actually out at my mom's best friend's house. So I got to sit on a really gorgeous patio in the sun. And we kind of just wanted to write like a really good vibey summer song that also was really special to me because it's true. Like the sunsets in Elk Point are gorgeous. Always. They're always so beautiful. And that's something that I really remember from my childhood. And that's something that I look forward to every time I go home, is to watch the sunset and see the stars, because the stars out there are insane as well. After living in the city for so long, you kind of forget.
Sure.
And yeah, I just remember, really wanting to write like windows down driving summer song, which is also where the idea for the video came from. The car that I drove in that video is actually my uncle's because he's a vintage car collector. And I was lucky enough to receive the Tell a Story Hive 10K grant to write that to make that video. And of course, I wanted to do it in Elk Point. So the whole video is filmed in Elk Point, all of my parts. And it was really fun. As a 16-year-old, that was something that I'd never done before, was to do like a full release with a music video. And it was definitely a really big learning curve for sure. But I kind of felt like a superstar.
Yeah, and if you ever get to go to Alberta, Jeff, that is a beautiful sunset to watch out there. My buddy Craig lives up there in Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada there. And we love the back porch during the summertime. And like I said, it doesn't get dark till almost midnight. And pretty cool to see deer in his front yard, just scraping across.
Oh, yeah.
Man, where's that shotgun? I'm a deer hunter. Where's that rifle?
I'm hungry.
Hey, if you can't find a good sunset in a place called Elk Point, you better change the name of the place.
Yeah, Alberta sunsets, they'll always be my favorite. That's for sure.
That's that one, and so Alberta's one, and I'd say the second one for me was sunset was Key West, Florida. That was another, just to be that southern tip down there was pretty cool to see those. My top two right there, no doubt.
Yeah.
Hey, let's take a little trip back in time to 2016. Please Maybe, give me the lowdown on that one.
Yeah, Please Maybe. That was I guess my fourth single that I released. Gosh, that's been a minute since I've talked about Please Maybe. That one was written with, I believe, also Dave. I used to write with him quite often. We got to get together for a write again sometime soon. Please Maybe was just kind of like a cute little song for a little 16-year-old me, kind of talking about like first relationships, very young Taylor Swift sounding. It basically is like, do you like me? Will you date me? Please, maybe. And it's very, it's very cute and very young love, kind of like, sounds like what a girl would write in her diary. That was a really fun one. It's been a while since I even heard that one, but that was a really fun write and a fun release as well. All the releases of mine have been super fun, and I've worked with great people. But yeah.
So where do you? And I think I know part of the answer to this, but I would love to hear you kind of expand on it. You've talked a lot about how these songs kind of reflect where you were and hometown sundowns, about your hometown and all that, and young Taylor, but I know that your songwriting has kind of evolved, and I heard you commenting about, I think it's kind of where your writing maybe currently is, or what you're expecting from a next project, which is not solely from your perspective, but taking on characters, writing from other perspectives, trying to explore some more storytelling. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah, totally.
Can you kind of talk about what you've got coming in that regard?
For sure. Basically, during the lockdown and this pandemic, our realities have been kind of harsh, especially as creatives. And it's been really hard to get inspired for myself to write about stuff, because it's like every day is the same. What do I write about? And so it's been really fun to imagine songs from other people's perspective. It kind of got me into that creative mindset of kind of like the same as what like somebody who is writing a book would write. Like, you come up with these characters and you put them in stories. I was also very inspired by Taylor Swift's new albums, Evermore and Folkmore, because all of the songs on those are basically from a character, and you can kind of follow them. If you're a crazy Taylor Swift fan like me, you can see where like the different songs are from this person's perspective in one song, and then the other person's perspective in the other song. And it's super, super cool. And so I was very inspired to kind of just get out of my own reality and get out of my own life, and to put other people into situations that I'm not in and write about that. I also believe storytelling is a really, really huge part of especially the country music genre, That's something that has always rung true with me, especially as a kid, listening to all of these story songs. And that's something that I believe I want to take forward and kind of honor that with the country music that I'm releasing, as modern or pop, whatever as it sounds. I love to have that basis of story behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I mean, I've always found it so interesting when people feel like their only option is to write from their own personal experience. I mean, you can certainly write great things that way. You know, Billy Joel wrote Piano Man. Clearly, he was a piano man, but he also wrote the Downeaster Alexa. He also wrote Goodnight Saigon. You know, I don't think Herman Melville went out and fished for Moby Dick. You know, but and I'm pretty sure that Michael J. Fox did not really travel back to the future. But it's just it's you would think that's in a lot of ways that would be a given, that you would want to put yourself in those other places to write from those unique perspectives. So I love that you're getting ready to explore that more. Yeah,
totally. Like, and my other super huge icon is Miranda Lambert, and you hear all of her songs, Gunpowder and Lead. What are the other ones? Kerosene. Yeah. She has so many of those songs, like Broken Home. No, wait, that's not her. That's not her. The House That Built Me. That's the one. That might be from her perspective, but even her, like she's written and released so many of these really cool story songs. Casey Musgraves, like I could go on and name all of these incredible musicians that do that and do it so well.
Yeah,
no doubt. That's telling that story and letting that story live on for years and years and years, even after we get past the cassettes and the CDs, right, Jeff? And we get into streaming now these days, which is click of the button. You can hear any song that you love out there. That's what's good about social media. Well, time for another one here as we get ready to put a bow on this one and do some rapid fire. We come back here on the show with Olivia Rose, and definitely check out that new website. I'm going to ask her about that here in a little bit, oliviarosemusic.ca. I believe some new stuff is coming for you on that particular website, or a redesign, which is
redesign.
So last one here, we'll put a bow on it, come back, do some rapid fire, get into some personal stuff here. And again, it's all yours.
Thank you. I'm going to play another newer written one. And this one was written with my friend TJ Simpson. And it's actually kind of funny where the idea for this song came from. It's called Interrupted, my love song. And I had that idea for quite a while. Interrupted my love song, but like, what could that mean? And I was watching The Bachelor. And there was this one part where it was right after she was on a hometown date. So the guy met her whole family. And then in one conversation, they broke up. And in the car ride home, she was like, what just happened? Like, I thought everything was going so well. And that's when it clicked. That's what this song is about. And that's basically what it is. It's about, you thought everything was going so well, and in the blink of an eye, it's gone. It's called Interrupted My Love Song. We were canvas, first kiss, butterflies. We were dancing in the moonlight. That no try feels right from the start. So good, honeymoon phase, getting flowers every Sunday. Us against the world, babe, written in the stars. You had my heart spinning forever, amen. Then the record scratched just like that. Speakers flew out, all went black. All you left was radio static. Music stopped and I can't rewind this time. Melody died. How did I get it so wrong? How are you the one that interrupted my love song? And just one night the roof caved. You took everything but the blame. How can you just walk away without skipping a beat? You had me believing we were endgames. I just a game you play. Had me thinking about your last day, but let down on me. Well, I was happy singing forever, amen. Then the record scratched just like that. Speakers blew out, all went black. All you left was radio static. Music stopped and I can't rewind this time. Melody time. How did I get it so wrong? How are you the one that interrupted my love song? Yeah, you met my mama. You were such a charmer. I told her that you were the one. Then the record scratched just like that. Speakers blew out, all went black. All I'm left is radio static. Music stopped, I can't rewind this time. Melody died. How did I get it so wrong? How are you the one that interrupted the record scratched just like that? Speakers flew out, all went black. All you left was radio static. Music stopped and I can't rewind this time. Melody time. How did I get it so wrong? How are you the one that interrupted my love song? Interrupted my love song.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
There's a glass of that coming up tonight, too, and you can get yours at bangtail.com and, of course, the Easy Liquor app. Bangtail Whiskey and Toir Guitars. Appreciate all they do for the program here. Brandon Morrell, Jeff McMahon here, back with Olivia Rose. And anything she sings is like A to Z in the phone book. It's just beautiful vocals, and I love it. She could sing the entire phone book. I love that song.
Thank you.
Beautiful story. Can't wait to see you at a show. When these shows come back, what's the show? Well, it's coming back soon.
Yeah.
One of my first one here toward the end of April. And I'm just like, and I wait to get back out to live music to see a couple of Texas artists down here. But you, fantastic to see you either opening for someone or doing your own show one day. We've got to make plans if you're somewhere here in the U.S. to come out and see
Definitely, yeah.
At a show live. Just beautiful. Like sitting on a stool. She reminds me, it's like when the rodeo comes back next year, Jeff, I'd love to see her come play the Texas thing down here and do a little stock show and rodeo if we can make that happen. I might make a couple of calls.
That'd be so cool.
Can do some stuff down here. So
that'd be awesome.
I just love getting lost in live music there. Let's talk about that one before I jump into rapid fire. Interrupted. Just great story. I love it.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Thank you. Yeah, like I said before, it's actually kind of funny that it was inspired by The Bachelor. And there was definitely a part, I believe the girl name was Bree. I don't know if you watched The Bachelor, but her name was Bree. It was like her and 3 other women, and everything ended for her in one conversation. And she was absolutely devastated, of course. And I had the idea of a song, Interrupted My Love Song, written in my notebook for a while, but I could never quite figure out where that would fit or like what that even meant. And the night before I wrote this song with my friend TJ, I was watching that Bachelor and I was like, oh, that's it. It's just like ending in a second. You interrupted my love song. I was literally in a fairy tale until you just cut it all off. And it was a pretty fun write. We definitely took some inspiration from the song All Too Well by Taylor Swift. That's kind of where that last cool flip around back into the chorus comes back at the very end. and we tried to write the first verse in present tense. It still has some past tense in it, but we wanted to cut the audience off guard as well, because it's like, we're first kiss, can't miss, getting flowers every Sunday, like, and then it cuts and goes, then the record scratched, just like that, and goes into that chorus, and then you hear the rest of the story after that about what happened. And yeah, it was really, really fun.
Love it. Good stuff right there. Dawn says, terrific song. Sounds great. Yes, she is true talent out there in country music out there. One of our good listeners to the program here. All right, so rapid fire. Let's jump into it. How have you kept busy as far as the television or the binge watching? What's been some of your favorite programs? Obviously, you mentioned one there with the song where Interrupted came from, with The Bachelor. Are some other ones out there? What are you into?
Totally. Bachelor, Big Brother Canada, because that's happening right now. I watched The Queen's Gambit like 3 times. I finally watched the last new season of Shameless, which is still on. Tiger King a year ago, I guess.
Yeah, it's about what everybody does.
And I've actually been watching all of the really cool murder documentaries that Netflix has been putting out. I'm really into that stuff. So
check that out too on Netflix. See what's there. All right, what was the go-to food during the pandemic? Or and a lot of people don't know this. If you've been to Canada, man, poutine is just damn good. I love it. It's good stuff.
Poutine is really good, but you have to get it at the right spot, and you have to eat it completely fresh, or else it gets gross.
Yeah, you do. For years, did you find yourself cooking more, doing some takeout? What was the story there?
Yeah, totally. I did quite a bit of takeout. I say it's because I wanted to support small businesses in my city, but I think it was just because I was too lazy to cook. But I figured out how to make really, really good, like restaurant style pad thai. And so it takes like 15 minutes because I use like a sauce packet, but we won't talk about that. But I've been making lots of pad thai.
I like that. Okay. Love me some of that pad thai, no doubt. All right. When all this is over and these, I guess, borders open back up, if there's a dream destination for a vacation, where would you go?
I really want to go to Greece. Greece is kind of one of my top. I don't know like what city or where in Greece, but Greece. I love Mamma Mia. I love Mamma Mia 2. I love ABBA. And I just want to feel like I'm in that movie. I just want to go there and swim in the ocean.
There's nothing wrong with that too as well. Definitely love that, and always good to dream big out there. She's gold. She's showing a lot of the gold out there with the current single across all the digital platforms, and definitely the new website's coming, oliviarosemusic.ca. So give that a follow right now. Pull it up and get it as a preset there. Put it in your search bar and make sure that when the new website comes, you go support her, grab some merch out there. Olivia, we appreciate the time here on the show as always, and looking forward to staying in touch, and come back anytime.
Thank you so much. This has been really, really wonderful, and it's great to talk to some people face to face.
I can't wait to do that. Flip the script and do it in person at a live show coming up one day. Don't forget, tomorrow, Brody Lane stops by, another fantastic artist. Looking forward to, on the Black River side of things, Josiah Siska comes on tomorrow. Looking forward to talking to him about the latest single, the new songs. Next week, full lineup. Allie Colleen's going to stop by. We'll talk about what's going on in her camp. Miss Jeannie Seeley is coming back to the program, the connoisseur of the Grand Ole Opry. Love telling stories with her, too, as well. And more to come here on the Backstage Pass. We'll see you guys tomorrow. For Jeff and the entire team, Toir Guitars and Bangtail Whiskey. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great night.
Thank you so much.